Hello and good evening, and welcome to the shed. With myself, Trevor. You're very welcome along to the show. It's Thursday evening. It's well, for some tonight it's Thursday night football. For myself, it's Thursday night sleep. But the football weekend is starting upon us, and it starts tonight. So we're looking forward to it. There's some big games on this weekend. After a very memorable week one, it's great to have the football back and the excitement that there was. I think it was out of 16 games, was it 12 one-score games in the whole of the NFL last weekend. So it was a very exciting weekend, and no more so than the Buffalo Bills and the Baltimore Ravens, who put on an epic. But there was a lot of good games. Jets Steelers game was a brilliant game. The Monday Night Football wasn't a bad one either between the Bears and the Vikings. So there was lots to go through there. The Eagles, Cowboys, Chiefs, Chargers. They were all good games that was on over the weekend. So hopefully week two is going to give us as much excitement for the games ahead. Um, for myself tonight's show, I'm just going to do a quick prediction show and just give you an update then about the Bills and the Jets and any other news that there may be. I'll start at this with the news from the Bills that Ed Oliver today did not practice. Apparently, rumors. Now I don't know how true these are. You see them go up on the internet that his foot was in a boot. So hopefully it's nothing serious. Apparently it wasn't there yesterday. So I'm as of now for me I have no update, but I'm sure there will be updates later on, and hopefully Ed Oliver had an absolutely amazing game last Sunday night, and he's a guy we need in our defense because we know it's our defense that has to do the improving going forward. We all have to improve bits, but definitely our defense. And he was a guy that out of the defensive side really stood up last Sunday night. But anyway, I will talk about that in a little bit. I'll go through the predictions first. So last weekend, I got 12 out of 16, so I'm pretty happy. I'm a bit more dicey on some of them this week, but we'll see how it goes. I just have had to put a pen to paper and tick one. But we'll start with tonight's game between the Commanders and the Packers. And this is one of them games that it's very hard to know which way it'll go. Like the Commanders won last weekend against the Giants 21-6, and the Packers beat the Lions is it 27-13? I think it is. Yes. So both teams are going in 1-0. Now, since Micah Parsons has gone to the Packers, an awful lot of people has put them as favourites to win the NFC, and an awful lot of them has put them favourites to win the Super Bowl. And time will tell. We're all hopeful at the minute, and everyone wants to pick their own team to win it. So why not? But tonight's game, I don't know. I have picked the Packers, and the reason I picked the Packers is the last 8 times these teams have met, it's the home team that has won. Going off last weekend, the Washington defense kept a very poor Russell Wilson and the New York Giants down to 6 points, and that was a good job. But when you look at the game, their offense with Jaden Daniels, Terry McLaurin, Debo Samuel, and co. Didn't set the world alight. Now I know it's week one, and all teams have to improve, and they probably will. But the Packers did look very good last weekend. They looked very good offensively and they looked very good defensively. And that is the only reason that swings it. That in that week, Micah Parsons has another week with them. Um, the Commanders, yes, they kept a team to 6 points last week. I don't know, will they keep the Packers down tonight? And I don't know, will they have enough in their defense? Listening to people talk about, they reckon that the Commanders' defense isn't as good as it should be. Yes, they have a terrific offense, and that has to click. But the Packers on both sides of the ball from game week one, that's all we have to go off, is looks the better. So for me, that's why I've chose the Packers to win tonight. Time will tell. It's one of them games you could drop a buyer down, land on either. You wake up tomorrow morning and I see the Commanders have won. I wouldn't have to choose one, so I'm choosing the Packers. Then we go to Sunday's games, and we start off with the Cleveland Browns at the Baltimore Ravens, an AFC North game. The Browns were very unfortunate to lose last weekend to the Cincinnati Bengals. I didn't think it'd be that close. Their kicker Smiths missed an extra point and a field goal, and either of them would have won the game. Well, the extra point would have put it to overtime, but the field goal would have won the game for them. Their defense played pretty well. They got to Joe Burrow 3 times. Myles Garrett got two sacks, his regular sacks against Joe, as some would say, but they played very well. The Ravens, well, they had the awesome epic against ourselves, and for 3.5 quarters, they looked like they were winning that game. And their defense was doing well. Their offense was, Derrick Henry was on fire, Lamar Jackson was on fire, Zay Flowers was on fire, and DeAndre Hopkins was on fire, amongst others. They were flying, and they will not be facing a Josh Allen this weekend, or a Josh Allen led team. And the Ravens have got severe criticism from people over in America this week. As a lot of it is uncalled for. It's for all of us last week. It was game week 1, and yes, we all wanted our teams to win, and thankfully mine did. But the way that the Ravens played, they were second to none against any other team. It's just, we are where we are. We've built so long to get to this point, and we have a quarterback and a team now that's ready to take that next step. Lamar Jackson is one of them teams we will have to face again, and he had an absolutely cracking game on any other day. It's just, we have Josh Allen. That's all I have to say. I do tip the Ravens to win this weekend. I don't know. It can go either way. It could. Joe Flacco's going back to Baltimore. I think it's for the first time since he left there. He could be fired up, and he could fire the Browns. Like Jerry Jeudy is there as a wide receiver. He's class act altogether. And they to score predictions, but I think it'll be more than a touchdown. And if Derrick Henry plays anything close to last week, the Browns, as good as they are in defense, and by the looks of it last weekend, I know they were playing the Bengals, but the Bengals are one of them teams. Their defense looks to be in a hell of a lot better shape than ours at the minute. So if they can stop Derrick Henry, they'll have a chance, and Lamar Jackson. And if they can't, it'll be handy for the Ravens. But I see the Ravens winning. Our next game then is the Jacksonville Jaguars at the Cincinnati Bengals. Jaguars won last weekend. Now they beat Bryce Young and the Panthers, and Bryce Young, sadly for me, because he's a guy I want to see do well, is going back to the old Bryce Young, and he won't last long in the NFL if he continues this. Joe Burrow and the Bengals, I don't know, last weekend, was it reality or was it just a blip? Because they look poor across the board. They won 17-16. That offense, with that amount of money spent on it, with Jamar Chase, T. Higgins, and Joe Burrow alone, should be enough to destroy teams, especially teams that are rated to be finishing bottom of their respective division. And yes, it was an AFC North game, and it was a game where teams do lift themselves for it. But at the end of the day, the good thing for the Bengals is they got their win, so they're 1-0. But the bad thing was their performance. Do I see Jacksonville going into Cincinnati and winning this weekend? I don't. I see the Bengals winning, but there's an awful lot of pressure on Zach Taylor, an awful lot of more pressure on him than there is on Liam Cohen and his Jaguar team. This is a game that they can win, but if they don't, there won't be any repercussions. Whereas the Bengals, if they don't win it and they go 1-1, people will start questioning, well, are they the team that's going to challenge Baltimore in that division? So, but I do tip the Bengals to win this weekend. Then we have another divisional game. We have the NFC East game, New York Giants at the Dallas Cowboys. Now, both teams lost last weekend. The Giants were pathetic against the Washington Commanders, and the Cowboys put up a fierce battle against the Philadelphia Eagles. If CeeDee Lamb caught one or two of them balls near the end, who knows? It could have been a different story, and the Cowboys could have won. That would have surprised me. I didn't think it going in. But there is a point I want to take, and it's not about the Giants versus the Cowboys, but it's from the Cowboys. So I addressed this on my video Tuesday night when I did my review of Week 1. But at the time, there was no major news out. It came out a little later. So Jalen Carter for the Eagles, he got a 1-game suspension for spitting, and he got, I think it was a $57,000 fine. Now, to me, that's a lot of money, right? But to him, that's buttons. But anyway, the game that he got suspended for happened to be the game he was playing in, so he doesn't get any suspension for this weekend. Now, we'll talk about his game later on. That's not my point. But my point being is Dak Prescott, you watch the video, and you can say what you want, but he spat at him. I'm not saying he spat on him previous. And you can watch him look at him, and you can watch him spit, and you can watch the man standing in front of him from the video camera. It didn't hit him, but it was in his direction. And I think the NFL should have done something to address that as well, because spitting is disgusting. And I think Dak Prescott should have got some kind of a ban. For me, both of them deserve to sit out this weekend and let it be a lesson and lose their wages for this weekend. It's not going to put them up or down. They're on big money, but it's a lesson to them. That's my idea, but the NFL saw it fit, and they do this with a lot of guys that break the rules. The punishment doesn't fit, and spitting is disgusting. It's like hitting a man in the nuts, and there's no difference. It's disgusting. It's rotten, and both of them should have been addressed, and not Carter. Yes, he spat on him, but Dak Prescott should have been given something as well. That's my 2 cents. I'll shut up. Who do I see winning? Well, Russell Wilson apparently is starting for the Giants this weekend at quarterback. There can be a kick in Russell Wilson, but it's not a kick that will continue on. I expect Jackson Dart to get in within the next 2 to 3 weeks, or Brian Dable will be under awful pressure. And I do see the Cowboys winning this weekend. They did put up a very good performance last weekend against the Eagles. It is another divisional game, so they will be up for it. So I do expect them to win. Our next game then is another NFC North divisional game. It's the Bears at the Lions. Both teams lost last weekend. The Bears came out with a big roar against the Vikings on Monday Night Football, and by the end of the game, Caleb Williams had gone from, I think it was a 7 from 7 or 8 from 8 on his first drive to back to old Caleb Williams. The Lions, they have 2 new coordinators. It's going to take time to adjust, but they have the firepower there. Jamar Gibbs, the Amon-Ra St. Brown, Jared Goff, and numerous others. So it will click. It's a divisional game. It's Ben Johnson going back to his old stamping ground. He knows Detroit. Dan Campbell will know he knows Detroit, so Dan Campbell and co will have to come up with something different. I'm tipping the Lions to win, though, because they're at home. I had the Bears tipped to finish 4th in that division at the start of the season. I don't see anything as of yet to make me want to change my mind. And if the Lions want to keep on, I thought the Lions, this is before the Micah Parsons trade, would win this division. But after watching what Green Bay did to them, if they have to stay on Green Bay's coattails, so they have to win this weekend. Then we have the AFC East, and it's another divisional game. It's the Patriots, New England Patriots at the Miami Dolphins. Last weekend I tipped the Patriots, but I was unsure whether they would defeat the Raiders, and they did defeat the Raiders, or they lost to the Raiders, 2013. And they deserved to lose, and they weren't great. And I thought Mike Vrabel would have his team pumped for their first home game and would be way too strong. They're going to a Miami Dolphins team that were last weekend a sham on every part of the football. Now, this is not me throwing digs at my divisional opponents. I call it as I see it. And even I think Mike McDaniels admitted last weekend that they were bad. And in his own words, in a roundabout way, he said they can't get much lower, that they're at the bottom. This is a huge game, more so for Mike McDaniel than it is for Mike Vrabel, because it's his first season. He isn't going to be fired like Mayo was last year. He's going to get time. But it is a big game for Drake May, because Drake May was poor last weekend. On the Dolphins side, they have HN, they have Waddle, they have Hill, they have Tua, they have weapons to throw to run at, and nobody can understand why they were that bad last weekend. They only know themselves what's going on in that organization, in the Patriots. I think that they are the team, yes, that are have a new head coach, and yes, that are rebuilding. But as much as that is a kind of a deflector, um, the Dolphins are a mess. And I seen one podcast this week put the Dolphins at 2-15 for the season. And if looking at it last weekend, that's a possibility. And getting the first pick for the NFL draft next year. If that happens, I don't see Mike McDaniel's being there. But our Greer, is it Chris Greer, as the GM, I don't see them being there. But time will tell. But I am picking the Patriots this weekend. Then we have the 49ers, San Francisco 49ers at the New Orleans Saints. The 49ers, George Kittle, out. Brock Purdy now out for, is it 2 to 5 weeks. Mac Jones is going to be the quarterback. Mac Jones, that was at the New England Patriots, that, my God, how he landed at the 49ers, I don't know. But the only thing I will say is Kyle Shanahan was part of the help that got Sam Darnold to the Vikings, and Kevin O'Connell changed Sam Darnold. So you have to trust Kyle Shanahan, to have some impact in helping Mac Jones to improve somewhat. He's going to get 2 to 5 games as quarterback of the 49ers. Flip it over. The Saints last week really did push the Cardinals. Really did, in fairness, push them. And Spencer Rattler wasn't too bad. Chris Olave was there. Kamara was there, running back. And they did all right. They kept the Cardinals to 20 points, and their last drive just didn't happen. If Brock Purdy, George Kittle, and Co. was all there this week, I would go 49ers, no problem. But they're not. But I am going 49ers this week. I just think that they have too much, and the Saints will beat somebody, but I don't know will they beat the 49ers this weekend. Our next game then is our own game. It's the Buffalo Bills at the New York Jets. The Buffalo Bills, well, we had our great win last Sunday night against the Ravens, and the New York Jets had a very narrow loss to the Pittsburgh Steelers last weekend. Now, I have it here, our injury list, right? So bear with me for a second, excuse me. I just checked it there before I came on the video. And so at the minute, the Christian Brentford, today, he had full practice. Brandon Codrington had full practice as well. Keon Coleman, full practice. James Cook, full practice. Then we come to the limited practice. Shaq Thompson was limited. Taron Johnson was limited. Dawson Knox was limited. Greg Rousseau was limited. And Tre'Davious White was limited. Also was Jordan Hancock. But then there was big news. Ed Oliver did not practice. And going off this, it's saying ankle injury. So maybe he hurt his ankle, tweaked his ankle. Hopefully it's nothing too serious. But that is a huge, huge loss because, as I said, Ed Oliver was outstanding last weekend and is one of our leaders in defense. On the Jets side, going off their injuries, okay, I'm going to try and see today. I only have up to yesterday, so it hasn't gone to Thursday yet for them. But Kenny Wagyu, excuse me, did not practice. Mason Taylor did not practice. Jay Tufele did not practice. Michael Carter was limited practice. Marcelino Macari Ball was limited practice. And Chukwuama Okafore was limited practice. Um, They are in order, as how I mentioned them: running back, tight end, defensive tackle, cornerback, linebacker, and offensive tackle. So our list is way longer, but they have injuries too. What did I see from the Jets last weekend? Um, I saw a Jets team that, for me, is going to epitomise what Aaron Glynn is not give up, um, give 110% for everything. They had fight in them. They went up face up to the Steelers a few times. It was a couple of silly mistakes at crucial parts of the games that really cost them that game against the Steelers. What did I see from the Bills last weekend? You take out the joy and the emotion. You did see an offense that eventually clicked, and clicked very well when the pressure came on. You eventually seen a defense, but it took over 3.5 quarters for that defense to make the turnover, to make the plays, to stop the Baltimore Ravens, to give our offense a chance. We ain't going to win every game 15 points down with 4 minutes to go. Josh Allen is Superman, but he's not Superman. And we can't put ourselves into them positions. Um, our defense was our weakness if we wanted to be very critical of that team last year. And that team last year was amazing, but it was the weak link. We we did invest heavily in it this year, and now we need to see that investment come forward, and we need to see them, like the Jets are going to do the same thing as the Ravens last weekend. You've got Brees Hall, you've got Justin Fields, quarterback, running back, Lamar Jackson, Derrick Henry. Similar thing. They're going to run the ball. Justin Fields showed last weekend he can run, right? A very, very good Pittsburgh Steelers defense they made look ordinary. So we can't take this game for granted. But on the other side, I expect our defense to improve. I expect it to learn something to stop the run game. I expect our secondary to improve hugely and really make plays, and crucial plays in this game, because we have to. Can't go. Last weekend was brilliant. Last Sunday night was brilliant. Last Monday was brilliant. By Tuesday, it was time to have forgot about it. It's a game. It's gone. It's looking forward to this game. And if we play like that against that Jets team, the way they played last weekend, it's going to take another heroic effort, and it shouldn't. Right? This is a team that's rebuilding, so it's a team that we should really, I'm not being smart, put to the slaughter. And will we? Time will tell. I am tipping the Bills to win because I'm a Bills fan. I'm not going to tip against my own team. But Josh Allen really, last weekend, he enjoyed his win, but he was also, you know, very, cool, calculated, and really looked like a guy that's in charge there. And these players adore Josh Allen as much as I do, as much as all the other Buffalo fans, as the coaches, the whole lot. He is our leader, and but we can't be putting it on his shoulders every game or every big game. Guys have to step up. Yes, Keon Coleman stood up last weekend. Dalton Kincaid stood up last weekend. Our two Titans with them, Knox and Hawes, stood up last weekend. Ed Oliver stood up last weekend. The offensive line did a very good job, you know, but our defense, the rest of our defense needs to stand up and needs to, start showing that if Josh has a slow game, or if our offense have a slow game, this defense can carry us through. You look at the Eagles last year. Jalen Hurts and Saquon Barkley never had to, they did, but they never had to worry about playing bad because they knew that defense would keep them in the games. And there was games early in the year especially where they weren't clicking. But their defense kept them there, and then they made the plays that they had to. And we will need that at some stage. We're not going to go out and score 40 points in every game or 41. So our defense has to get to Justin Fields and make him make mistakes, because he can. And they have to stop the running game. Garrett Wilson, make sure there's none of that getting to him. He played very well last weekend. And put pressure on the Jets and make the Jets go, all right, we know ye are the top dog by the end of the game. That's it. But I am tipping the Bills to win. But I do expect a huge battle because Aaron Glenn won't have a team that's going to roll over. Not like last year's team, Jets teams. They won't. So we have to bring our A game. We're going to have to do it every week, but this is week 2. So we're talking about this one. Then we have the Seahawks at the Steelers. The Seahawks lost a narrow one to San Francisco last weekend at Seattle, whereas the Steelers went to New York, or New Jersey, I should say, and played the New York Jets, and they did win 34-32. I have the Steelers winning this game. I think Sam Darnold will take time to bed in there. He didn't do too bad last weekend, but it was 17-13. It wasn't a very exciting game, whereas Aaron Rodgers and the Steelers offense clicked. They got 34 points. Their defense, though, wobbled, and they weren't on their own, but they wobbled. So it'll be interesting to see if the Seahawks can get at the Steelers' defense. And if they can, they'll make a game of it. If not, I just think that the Steelers at home will have too much and will win it. Then we have the Rams at the Titans. Now, this is like, for me, the first game, the Commanders at the Packers. I don't know which way to go. I know the Rams won against the Texans last weekend. I know the Titans lost against the Broncos last weekend, but the Titans are at home. It's Cam Ward's #1 pick, first home game. The Rams sometimes aren't great travelers, and they have to travel a fair distance to this one. Brian Callahan, I've heard that they reckon Cam Ward, they may not see the best of him until he's gone, but he's a newish head coach. He only came in 2024, so you have to give him a chance. On the other side, you have Sean McVay with Matthew Stafford, Puka Nacua, Williams, the running back. And I just think that they're too strong for the Titans, so I'm going for the Rams to win this weekend. Then we have the first of the 9 o'clock games and the 9:05s. Carolina Panthers at the Arizona Cardinals. Now, I came in this year looking at the Carolina Panthers, and I said, Bryce Young is back. Bryce Young is the college Bryce Young. Last weekend, he stunk. He was awful. So was the Cardinals, full stop. Or the Panthers, excuse me. Panthers. The Cardinals were average. Kyler Murray was good. Marvin Harrison Jr. was good. And I expect them to win this weekend. I want to see Bryce Young do well, and I want to see him be the Bryce Young he can be, like he was at the end of last year. But I don't think his offensive line is too good, and I don't know where he is at the minute. And I heard it said during the week that the Panthers will have to change their head coach for Bryce Young to have a chance. And Dave Canales, again, no more than Brian Callahan, is only there since 2024, but the pressure is on. They brought him in. He was the #1 pick. And we'll see. Like, they could have gone for CJ Stroud, but CJ's wobbling too. So time will tell. But anyway, I'm going for the Rams in this game. We'll see how it goes. Not the Rams, sorry, the Cardinals. Excuse me, the Cardinals in this game. Then we have another cracker. I think it'll be a cracker. Is the Denver Broncos at the Indianapolis Colts. The Colts and Daniel Jones blew the Dolphins out of the water last weekend. The Denver Broncos and Bo Nix won, but at in Denver, in Colorado, at Mile High. Sorry, that's what I was trying to get out. But they didn't look too impressive. He had 2 interceptions. Bo Nix. Daniel Jones had a very clean game, brilliant game. The Broncos defense will really test this Indianapolis Colts offense, and that's, I think, where the game will be decided. But looking at last weekend, Broncos offense wasn't too hectic, and the Colts defense did their job against, as poor as Miami was, they made them look poorer. And I'm tipping the Colts to win this one. I just don't know. I could be wrong. I just have a feeling, and I have my tipping hat on the Colts. Then we go to a repeat of last year's Super Bowl. It's the Philadelphia Eagles at the Kansas City Chiefs. And I've watched programs this week where they've looked at both teams and they suggest the Eagles weren't great at the first game of the season, but they did get their win. But the Chiefs are the Chiefs, and a lot of them think the Chiefs will come back. I like to bring people down to earth and say this. The Chiefs, without Patrick Mahomes, would be like the Titans and like the Panthers and like a lot of other poor teams in the NFL. Because last week, the stuff I seen of that game was absolutely, without Mahomes, they were shocking. They were shocking in defense and they were shocking in offense. Mahomes had made all the big plays. They had men that couldn't catch balls. They had men that were making wrong runs. They had defenders that were making wrong runs. And they have a. It's been there. It's been coming for a long time. They poxed games last year with winning one score. You can say what you want. Oh, they had a record of 17 one-score wins, blah, blah, blah. They poxed a lot of them. So they did. The Chargers was a pox. The Broncos was a pox. There was an awful lot of them. They were lucky to win. The Eagles didn't look too hectic against the Cowboys, but they got their win. And Saquon Barkley still played well. I'm going for the Eagles to win this game. Does that make me write the Chiefs off of winning the AFC West? No, because the Broncos didn't look too hot, and I still have my doubts on the Chargers. We'll talk about that game in a few minutes, but they are mightily improved, and they look to be a real contender. But if the Chiefs go to 0-2, it takes them a good step back on the AFC overall picture, but it doesn't rule them out of winning the AFC West. I just think that without Mahomes, and Mahomes looked very good last weekend. And again, I can only go off game week 1, but he looked good. The rest of the team looked poor. And last year, Mahomes carried that team, but you had other players stand up at different points. Last weekend against the Chargers, there was just Mahomes. That was it, in my eyes. And if he goes down, I think that's because Kelsey's gone. He may want to stay there and think he's going to win something, but he ain't that player. Their wide receivers are like Worthy is out injured for a while. Their defense even is falling apart. Chris Jones making big mistakes, and that's yes, they've been so successful and good luck to them, and but that team needs a full refresh set. Now, that doesn't mean I'm writing them off or anything. I'm just saying that if they lose, they will make it a lot harder to in the AFC overall picture to get to that number 1 pick for home advantage for the playoffs. But it'll also, if the Broncos do win or the Chargers do win, it puts them 2 games behind. Time will tell. But I am tipping the Colts beforehand, and I am tipping the Eagles in this game. So I am. Now, we're going to the last Sunday night game. It's Sunday Night Football. It's the Atlanta Falcons at the Minnesota Vikings. The Falcons lost a cracker last weekend against the Buccaneers. Were very unlucky in ways to lose it. The Vikings came from the dead and beat the Bears. It's in Minnesota. JJ McCarthy's first home game. And I'm picking the Falcons to win. And the reason I'm picking the Falcons to win is they never gave up last weekend, but they played all 4 quarters. The Vikings won their game, but they turned up for a patch here and a patch there, especially in the second half. And I just think if Michael Penix Jr. and Bijan Robinson and co, Drake London apparently is back to play, he's good to play. If they turn up this weekend, I just think they'll be too strong for the Minnesota Vikings. And I know how good the Vikings are. And I know Justin Jefferson is there and so on. And JJ McCarthy, it'll be a second game. And I'm trying to talk myself out of this, but I have picked the Falcons, so I'm going to stick with the Falcons. Monday night, there's 2 Monday night games in Ireland here. There's one at 12, which is 7 p.m. Eastern time, and there's one at 3 o'clock in the morning, which is the Chargers at the Raiders. That's -5, 10 o'clock in Eastern US time. So we talk about the Buccaneers, the Texans. Baker Mayfield and the Buccaneers went 1-0 last weekend against a brilliant game against the Falcons. Texans lost 14-9 to the Rams in Los Angeles. But the Texans had issues with their offensive line. And CJ Stroud still doesn't look like the CJ Stroud that we seen in year one. The Buccaneers didn't set the world alight, but they did get a very good win. Baker Mayfield looked good. It's Abuka. Am I saying my man's name right? Let me get the pages here. Texas Rams. Excuse me now. But they're wide. Yes, Emeka Ebuka. He had an outstanding game, 2 touchdowns, and he is a guy that they're going to turn to. He's a guy who's going to replace and become their wide receiver, number one wide receiver, when the time comes. They're a team, I think, that are a dark horse for the Super Bowl. The Texans are a team that I did tip to win the division at the start of the season, but if they go 0-2 and the Colts go 2-0, they're going to make it very hard. So time will tell. The Texans' defense is okay, but the offensive line can be got at. And if the Buccaneers, Baker Mayfield can throw pings like he did last weekend, then the Buccaneers, I think, will win this game. And our final game then is the Chargers at the Raiders. Both teams won last weekend, so they're both 1-0. Chargers won down in Brazil. The Raiders won at in New England. Both deservedly win. Geno Smith had a great game, and Justin Herbert had a great game. But I'm picking the Chargers to win this game. If they're going to be the AFC West champions, this is a game they have to win. Max Crosby is there in defense. You know, they have the new running back. What's his name now? It's just gone out of my head, excuse me. But Ashton Jeanty, there we go. Comes back in when you don't want it. But Jeanty's the running back. He played very well last weekend. But Justin Herbert last weekend, and again, it's only off one game, he looked like a man that wanted to be there. And he faced the Kansas City defense and Chris Jones and co. Bolton and all them, and didn't flinch. So we will see. It'll be interesting to see, but I'm going for the Chargers. And they're my picks. So I'm going to just call them out one at a time. Packers over Commanders. Ravens over Browns. Bengals over Jags. Cowboys over Giants. Lions over Bears. Patriots over Dolphins. 49ers over Saints. Bills over Jets. Steelers over Seahawks, Rams over Titans, Cardinals over Panthers, Colts over Broncos over Chiefs, Falcons over Vikings, Buccaneers over Texans, and Chargers over Raiders. They're my picks. Let me know what you think. If you agree, good and well. If you disagree, tell me. But anyway, we'll see. If I get 12-4 again this week, I'll be very happy. I don't know when that happened, but we will see. As a Bills fan, the most important one is we beat the Jets and get one up in our division and go 2-0. But there's a game to play and we have to turn up and have to be ready. So that's my show for tonight, folks. I want to thank you very much for watching. That's my show for the week. I'll be back. I don't know whether it'll be Monday night or Tuesday night yet. We will see. I might do one Monday evening, depending on how things are fixed, and we can talk about the Monday night games on Tuesday night then when I'm with Therese. But I did 2 Tuesday night videos this week, and they took a lot out. One was a review, so we will see. But for your weekend, I hope you all have a wonderful, happy, safe weekend. Enjoy the football. It should be a great weekend of sport on. I'm looking forward to Red Zone Sunday night, and we'll see how the games go there and the games before we get the highlights of later. Always, my friends, enjoy your weekend. Stay safe, stay happy. Go Bills, and stay safe.